What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome again to Extending Family. My name is Dewan. This is my lovely wife, Jen.
And to get us started, words from my husband.
Thank you very much. This one is called Drawing Home. Cement floors carpeted by crushed ice that won't melt. Reality hung on walls like murals as if rendered by Rembrandt. A sky blue ceiling rubbed gray by a dirty eraser. This is home. From a distance, he could trace the outlines of dilapidated structures, burn victims on their last legs threatening to fall. Supported by 206 beams, their skin pronounces their shapes as they breathe deep sighs of captivity. Bloodstained glass splashes color on an otherwise dismal scene. He, unaware of his own art, clutches the bucket as the light adjusts its contrasts. Green, yellow, red, roses for sale.
Thank you.
This time, representation matters to me. I really wanted to focus on a different population. I wanted to look at the homeless community and talk to some of the beauty that they represent in my eyes. We often disregard the homeless, but they are people and part of our communities too. One of the things that I encountered in my life growing up in Detroit, and I'm sure you saw in various parts of here in Northwest Indiana, the homeless community is often disregarded as bums or discarded elements of our society. And one of the things that I learned working in these areas is to understand that these are people who had major financial issues in their lives. And one of the things that I came to recognize is anybody can suffer a loss at any point in time and end up in these situations, and it is up to us to treat them with humanity.
Many people don't want to see or acknowledge those who have hardships, but like you said, they had financial hardships and in some cases, and really anybody could be one step away from that similar situation. Help our brothers and sisters and treat them with humanity, love, and grace.
Transitioning into our person for this week for Representation Matters, we wanted to talk about the late, great Cicely Tyson.
May she rest in power.
Oh my goodness, what an amazing woman. And one of the things that I told Jen, I didn't realize this, was that her autobiography, which just came out, was actually slated for release. I believe it was something like 3 or 5 days after she passed. And it must have been amazing for her to finish that project and know that it was going to reach the world, even not knowing what the sales or the impact of that book was. I had read that she was not interested in doing an autobiography, and she wasn't going to.
Really?
But for some reason, she decided to.
Well, that's great because she has had a very long career.
I guess they would call it a character actor. She would go on set and she would be in character the entire time she was on the set. If you were talking to her, she would respond to you as her character would. And that's kind of amazing. I remember seeing her various times throughout her career, and one of the most recent times was when we went to the movie theater and we saw The Help. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know she was still acting.
Well, I bet you felt that way again when you saw her in How to Get Away with
Murder.
Yes. And again, she was a bad...
Shut your mouth.
I started reading the book after I realized that it was coming out posthumously. And Viola Davis does the foreword, and it is just one of those beautiful, heartwarming, and hilarious stories that Viola Davis tells about meeting her and working with her and being inspired by her throughout her life. Viola Davis, seeing her like I did for the very first time in the autobiography of Miss Jane Pittman, we just like, wow, she's just captivating. And from that moment on, she knew that she could do that job. She could be an actor and have dark skin and be respected. And I think that that representation from Cicely Tyson is what so many people love. They look at her as a woman who may not be large physically, but she has a huge stature in terms of her impact on our lives as viewers, but also as African Americans.
Yeah, the culture, definitely.
She's been a model,
Yep.
actress.
Yep.
She's won a Tony Award, so she must sing.
Yep.
And we've seen her play so many different roles. And Viola Davis even mentioned the fact that she went to see her for the very first time on set at How to Get Away with Murder, and how she was ready to say, "Oh, I'm such a big fan of yours." And like I said, Cicely Tyson responded as her mother, which is the character she played, and she was not having it. And Viola Davis just laughed to herself like, what was I thinking? Thank you for joining us. Again, click the description below to click on the links.
And don't forget to like and subscribe. In today's episode, let's get to representation matters. I would have loved that college experience that I saw represented on A Different World.
Yeah, me too.
Not that I had a horrible experience and you had fun at your college.
Hey.
Growing up, when I saw A Different World, well, first, of course, is The Cosby Show. And then A Different World, I didn't see as a child that it was a spin-off of The Cosby Show. But I really liked seeing people who were, I'm not going to say dark skin because I think they did that on purpose. They didn't have a lot of dark skin characters because, they had to make it more palatable. But for me, as a light-skinned Black person, I was like, it's me! And I had my representation. And there were so many females, right? And the various characters that they played, one was a little ditzy, one was a little rough, one was very... well, she was extra, right? She was just too much Whitley. I see myself as Whitley and having those privileges, but she was a dancer. She was a ballerina. And in real life, Jasmine Guy is a triple threat. An actress, a singer, a dancer. When did you start watching it?
I probably started watching maybe when I was, I would guess, middle school, going into high school, maybe in high school. And like you, I didn't really have the words to understand that this was a spinoff, but I knew that they were related. And kind of opposite of you, I really did see a lot of representation in dark skin, but I also acknowledged the spectrum and how not only were they people of different skin tones, but they were people who had different backgrounds and interests, and it was almost like watching a more diverse Cosby Show.
Yes.
And I liked that there were more young characters. I liked the idea of going to college, and I think that was a real big inspiration for me as a Black kid growing up and saying, hey, I want that kind of experience.
Yes.
I wanted to go to Howard, and I admittedly was a cheapskate back in the day. So when I was filling out applications, it came to my attention that I had to apply and pay for these applications. And I thought, ooh, $50, that's a little too rich. See, that's not a good mentality. I was not thinking about the investment. And that's why I didn't end up going to Howard, primarily. I mean, we can all assume I would have gotten in.
Of course you would have gotten in. Of course you would have gotten in.
But that was the main reason. But yes, I was Dwayne Wayne through and through. I felt myself as kind of like the underdog, awkward, nerdy, very much into math. Dwayne Wade all the way.
And I chickened out applying to Spelman because I didn't feel Black enough. I remember watching Stepping, right? Because they did that on A Different World.
Yeah.
And when I did go to St. Mary's, we didn't have a step team at St. Mary's, but Notre Dame did. And First Class Steppers, that was their name. And I did audition. I practiced so hard and I failed.
I never knew this.
Miserably. Could not keep a beat rhythm. I was just slapping everything. There was red marks all over my face.
Okay, I would never have guessed this because you are and were a dancer.
It was and remembering and I could like do a sequence and they go, oh wait, where am I supposed to go? There's no time to stop and think, where is my hand supposed to go? Whether it's behind your head, under your leg. Couldn't do it.
Similarly, I was not a big fan of Greek life. My whole youth, for some reason, was revolving around how much does it cost? How am I supposed to pay for these friends in this fraternity? That was not my thing, so I never joined a fraternity without, again, seeing the larger benefit of that investment.
I had assumed that since Notre Dame had a steppers team, that Black historical colleges and universities would also have a steppers team, but now you bring to my attention they probably wouldn't need a team. Greek life, it's all wrapped up in there.
From my perspective at Michigan State, we didn't have a large population of African Americans, so I thought the only way you could be a part of Step Life was to be part of those fraternities, and we had chapters of Black fraternities, like the Qs, like different organizations that stepped, and I would go to different events and see how awesome these people were, and they were like celebrities on campus.
I wanted to be that celebrity on campus. Alas. Let's talk about some other people who are artists, maybe inspired by the late great Cicely Tyson, and they are artists who are breaking into other media and doing wonderful things. I like to do my research on TikTok, and there was a young lady who goes by Grace, and she was painting, I believe, Sojourner Truth. Did you see that one?
I don't think I did.
The colors she was using, it was so vibrant, and I thought, this is an up-and-coming artist. You know what? Perhaps she's already an artist. We just don't know about her, and she doesn't have any links or any other kind of social media going on. I will have her TikTok name, and you guys can look her up and follow her, and maybe she'll sell some of her art. Then there's this musician, and you might recognize some of his music from TikTok. His name's Kevin. People have been duetting with his music. He's a cellist.
I think I've seen him.
Yeah, and I think he plays piano as well, and very just soulful music, I think, very moving. An up-and-coming actor, screenwriter, director, I think her name is Trisha, and down below you can click her website and see some of her work that she's doing as an actor and as a screenwriter. So the last one, again, I found her on TikTok, aspiring singer. She's already, I think, have one album done. She goes by the name Raven Falls, and you can find her music on Patreon. Patreon
is a good place to find independent artists, actors, dancers, singers, producers, writers. It's a really good way to contribute to the artists directly, support them, and help them kind of break out into the spotlight, because we need more people out there.
Who else did we forget? Who else is out there supporting and doing great things in the culture?
Yeah, drop a comment below. Let us know who's inspiring you. Thank you again. We appreciate you watching. Peace.
Power and love.